First, I'd like to tell you a little about myself, about my job at the World Trade Center. I started off as a window washing supervisor. I had about 23 employees with me, under the window washing. It was a good atmosphere. Everybody was upbeat. It was a great place to be, Working in the World Trade Center, it was like none other. You just could, you just stand there sometimes and you're just in awe. It was just an amazing place to be. I then got promoted to the Path and Concourse and World Trade 4 and 5, which then entitled more duties. I still maintained the window washing, and I then had more duties as far as making sure those areas were up to par and dealing with the tenants there. And you kind of build a relationship with your fellow workers and the people that that worked in the building. After another period of time, I then got another promotion to dispatcher / project manager, and that entitled a whole different type of field. It was like then I was in charge of the whole basically day-to-day operation of the maintenance workers in a whole nutshell. There was about more than 120 workers that were under me, which was very, very, it was honorable, because most of the people there, could have been my father or my grandfather. I was about 23, 24 at the time, so to be looked at by so many people that were older than me and treated with respect, it was great. And you kind of you built a relationship with these people, and they were more than just co-workers. You spending time with them day in and day out, even some weekends, when you worked. It was it was really it was very, very great place to be. I wouldn't trade it with anything. And one of the relationships that I developed was with William Rodriguez, who was in charge of cleaning all the staircases from top to bottom. It's not an easy job. You need a lot of healthy legs to do it. He was a very he was just somebody that caught my attention. Was very a very honorable and very good person to be around. And we developed a great relationship as far as with other workers as well. But just he was someone special that that I held close to my heart. And he, we had good times. We'd have our own little room. He had his own little room set up there, and we would hang out and talk, and you get to see the type of person that somebody is, and he was a very honorable person. I then basically continued to go in, day out, working, which led up to 9/11. Which was a day that, what could you say? It was very horrible. Starting off, the day was, it was a beautiful day. It was not a cloud in the sky. It was, everything was, nothing as far as any trouble around. It was just a normal day. I got in about 6:30. That was the time I would start my day off, and basically dispatched the workout, got things going. Then, around 8 o'clock, 8:30, it starts to slow down a little bit, and then Willie came in. Willie actually called me and said, he was going to be late, he wasn't going to come in. I said, no, you have to come in here because, this has to get done. I was and I'm not, letting anybody else do it besides you. So he was like, okay, all right, I'll do it for you. So he came in. We then, as he came in, and he came into my office. Most of the work was out and done, and I was ready to unwind a little bit, and we were just there talking about the day, what I needed done and whatnot, and that's when we heard just a loud explosion, massive explosion. It just knocked us off our feet. It was just unbelievable. Right when that happened, I was like, that's a bomb. I said, what the hell was that? He's like, all right, stand under the door. He had me, I was standing up, and he was more, sitting more in the back of the room. And he was like, stand by underneath the door, because at the time, all the ceiling tile and everything just came down on top of us, and there was smoke filled with everything. Just people then started running towards us and screaming. About a good 15 people, some coworkers, some people who were just down there in the B1 level on the basement floor. And it was just hysteria, just smoke and everybody screaming, and it was crazy. So we were like trying to figure out what was going on. When that happened, then another explosion happened, and it was just like, boom, like, you know, I'm just like, wow, what's going on? Like, again, we got like knocked away, and like, what's going on here? You know, and it literally sounded like it was just like, not particularly like a grenade, like people setting off grenades, but it was like, picture like just like multiple grenades just going off, just like bam, bam, boom. And, you know, that's what I thought. I was like, is there somebody in here like blowing up the place? It's like, you know, it was wild, you know? And, you know, basically then all the workers and everybody who were in the area then ran into my office, and, you know, we greeted them. And, you know, William, I wasn't as calm as William was. William was, you know, more of the calm person. I was like, you know, more, you know, a little like, you know, shaky about it. I didn't know what was going on. And, you know, he was like trying to calm everybody together and getting everybody like, you know, all right, we got to get out of here. This is what we got to do. And, as we were doing this, a man who I just found out his name yesterday, I didn't even know his name up until this day. His name, I think, was Felipe. He came into our room, into our office, and it was just like everybody just was like in dead silence. And he was just like, he came in and he was just covered with blood, and his skin was like peeling off his arms, his face. Like, I don't know the extent of the burns and whatever, but it was just like, wow. We were just like. So we were asking him, are you okay, you okay? And the man was just like shaking and in shock. And it was like, you know, we just knew that, you know, we had to get this man out of here as much as us ourselves. Now, usually I have a radio with me that day. You know, every day I usually have a radio to get in touch with, you know, other coworkers and whatnot. And that one particular day I didn't. You know, it was just so how it be, like, you know, so I didn't know what was going on with anybody else. I didn't know what was going on in the building. All you heard was just, you know, the sirens and like, you know, just like everybody screaming. So you kind of like, you know, was, and plus the phone also was out. So you didn't, it was like no communication with anybody. So we were basically down there to fend for ourselves. We then grabbed, well, William actually, and another fellow worker grabbed like a tarp or like a kind of a rug that we held in storage, and wrapped it around the man, the guy Felipe, who was covered with, you know, blood, and it was just, you know, he was just messed up bad. And we kind of grabbed him and carried him out to the loading dock area, where we were figuring how to get out, because there's a way out to the lobby and then there's a way out through the street. And the way that we tried going through the lobby first, William and the other men, you know, tried to go that way, and it was just too much smoke, and it was just, you know, there's no way you could go out that way. At this time, we're also hearing multiple explosions going on. So we just, and plus we're like, we don't know where to go because we don't have any communication with anybody else. So we're like, should we go this way? Should we go that way? And it was just like, all right, we finally came to a conclusion, and we took the guy out through the ramp of the loading dock, which led out into the street. We carried him out. We placed him with an ambulance. He like was in total shock, and you know, we felt good that all right, now he's in the care of somebody that could help him. We then placed him down, and then that's when like just everything, like now I'm outside the building now, and that's when everything just like hit me. It was just like, you know, I didn't even turn around and see the building yet. I just like looked ahead and just saw people's faces, and they were just staring up and just like just staring in like an amazement. I then turn around and I look up, and you just see a huge gash through the window, it was just like somebody took a Ginsu knife and just sliced it in half. It was just like amazing. A huge hole, and you know, just people like screaming who are outside, like, oh my God, and I didn't realize why. And then, you know, this was a tough thing for me, but you see people falling from the windows. Like, you just see people just coming down, and you're like, oh my God, is that a body? I mean, like, it was just like, you know, you just couldn't describe it, like, you know. And I still have visions of, you know, people. Like, I was personally, like, you know, very close to seeing. Like, I could even see what the people were wearing. That's how close I was to them, and it was just something you just had to turn away from. I mean, you just like saw just like one, two just come down, and it was just, you know, a terrible sight. After that, I just, you know, focused my attention away from that because I just really couldn't take any more of looking at it. And me and William were like, all right, let's get the firemen who were trying to get through were being blocked off because the traffic then stopped. So we were trying to get the people to move and help these firemen get through. And we then like had our backs to the building, and then that's when the second plane came through and just boom, you just heard like a huge explosion, and you turn over and there's a fireball coming right over you like this, like, in the heat was just like extreme, and we just fell right through the floor, like, you know, and you basically, like, I fell down, and then I looked up, I see the fire coming over me and debris and everything, and as I look up, you see people just take off, like, down the block, just running, like, at full speed. And, you know, they were just like, you know, it was like out of the movie Godzilla, like how you see, like, people running when Godzilla's coming, like, you know, that's basically how it was. People just, like, pushing people and just running, and, you know, and then, like, was like, you know, I gotta, you know, look for my workers and whatnot. So William was like, let's go back into the building. I said, no. I said, that's like, you know, that's crazy. I said, that building looks like it's, you know, it doesn't look like a safe place to be. I was like, let's stay out here, gather what we could do, and, you know, get everybody safe out here. He's like, no, I'm going in. I said, all right, you know, go ahead, you know, do what you feel you have to do. I said, I'm going to get everybody together and organized out here. And that was the last time I actually seen him for about up until 6 years. And I then seen him on TV later, but that, like, physically in front of me, that was the first time I last seen him. I know he ran right into the building. And then, you know, I was then looking for, like, some of my personal close friends outside, making sure they were okay. And I, like, as I was doing that, I would see different people I was working with, and I was like, all right, go to this certain block, let's meet up, everybody, let's meet up, and so on. Now, trying to find certain individuals is kind of hard. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, because it's just, like, people running everywhere, and, you know, you couldn't really see, you know, like it was just so much confusion going on. So I then, like, focused my attention. I was like, you know what, I then thought about my family. I was like, you know what, I really have to call my parents. I was like, but now the cell phones don't work. So I was, like, walking, and I finally ran up into, like a couple blocks down into a deli, who then, I said, you know, and I had, like, debris on me, and I was like, listen, I was just in the building. I said, I want to get in touch with my family. My cell phone don't work. And they were kind enough to let me, you know, call my dad, and I spoke to my dad on the phone, and it was just like, you know, like, wow, you know, like, it was just like, I was just happy to be alive and hear his voice. You know, and I got off the phone with my dad, and, you know, a couple of time has elapsed, and now I'm like gathering people and, you know, telling them, let's go, you know, let's meet here. As I start walking back towards the building, now I was far enough away. It wasn't like I was right up at the building, but I was far enough away to, you know, to see and hear what was going on. And as I was walking closer towards the building, that's when you just heard, like, the building just crumble. You just heard, like, firecrackers, like, bap, 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 and, like, just like a mini earthquake. Like, it was just like it was like crazy, you know, like you just were, like, shaking. I then did with what pretty much mostly everybody did, was just run the opposite way of the debris coming at you. I made it. I was fortunate enough to make it not get covered by the smoke and the debris. I was, like, fortunate enough for that. So, you know, but speaking to other people, that was just like, you know, it was just like a terrible experience from them who went through that, just like the soot in your mouth, and, you know, the being covered, and you not knowing where you are, just like total silence, just like hearing from them. I mean, like, it was just like, you know, I couldn't believe, like, that, you know, that they had to go through that. But